Welcome to another interview on held by EFSAS, and this time we have with us Mr. Daud Khattak. Mr. Daud Khattak is the managing editor with Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty's Pashto language Mashaal Radio. Before joining Radio Free Europe in Prague 12 years ago, he has worked for Pakistani English-language newspapers, mainly for the News International and Daily Times. He has covered Pakistan's anti-Taliban military operations in the Pakistan-Afghanistan border region as part of the global war on terrorism. You have also worked in Kabul as English service editor for Afghanistan's first independent news agency. You have published a lot of papers. One of them, the most interesting one, is the Genesis of Taliban emergence in Swat for the US think tank, the New America Foundation. Apart from that, your articles and research papers on Taliban, terrorism, politics in Pakistan have been published in various publications like the CTC Combating Terrorism Center, Sentinel, the American Interest, the Diplomat, Foreign Policy, Washington Post, and apart from that, you have also worked for the Sunday Times in London, reporting from Pakistan. So, Mr. Daud Khattak, welcome and thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me.
So, Mr. Khattak, before we, of course, start on the various political issues in the region, and especially this time, what we would like to know is the roller coaster of politics which has been going on in Pakistan, especially in the last, I would say, 4, 5, 6 months. But before we come there, it's always interesting to know the person to whom we're talking. So you, of course, have worked in Pakistan. Now you're working in Prague for a while. You've also worked in America or for American public. So, how does this come about? Why these so many changes?
Well, this is really interesting question, and I would love to speak about it. When you are starting your career in Pakistan, after completing my journalism career in late 1990s, so it was a difficult time for journalists. The job market was not very good, and we have to make choices whether to go somewhere as a trainee or to find a job. So first of all, I moved to Islamabad, and there I worked for Urdu newspapers and news agencies. Then returned to Peshawar. Again, in Peshawar, the market was not good, but there were changes in Kabul after the 9/11. So I got an offer from Afghan news, and since I was working in 3 languages at that time, later on I also learned Persian while in Kabul. So I was in Pashto and English, so they invited me, and there I worked for 3 years. Later on moved to Peshawar, and the situation was very tough security-wise. So I got offer from foreign newspapers like Sunday Times, Telegraph, Christian Science Monitor, Kuwait News Agency, for example. So all these organizations I was working as contributor. And then I was found by the RETRL people there in Peshawar, and they invited me to Prague for launching a radio. So I'm still here working for Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty in Prague, Czech Republic, and that is a Pashto language radio Mashaal, which is covering the Pakistani tribal areas and particularly the militancy there. Countering extremism. So we are working here for that radio, which is nowadays 14 hours broadcast for the tribal.
Okay, good. And I already explained it a little bit in my introduction. Is the roller coaster Pakistan has been going through. Again, you have of course covered the war on terrorism in Waziristan. That's all interesting, and we will of course touch upon that. But what is more interesting is the current situation there, the political situation, the many attacks which are happening every day. But apart from that, and when I was reading about it, I found it so astonishing that what is happening. Many people used to say that the former Prime Minister Imran Khan is someone who's been put there by the army and supported by the army. Today, he's in jail. He's the seventh Prime Minister of Pakistan, which is in jail. There have been huge attacks on army installations. And few weeks later, the same people apologized. So what is happening in Pakistan?
Well, the unfortunate side of democracy is there. The unfortunate side of politics is there. If we have a look, and if you look at the history of politics in Pakistan, I think from Zulfikar Ali Bhutto till Imran Khan in 2022, it's the same story, which is repeating itself again and again, but only the shapes are changing. Only the figures and only the individuals are changing. Otherwise, if we look at the roots of the problem, so it is the same. There is the very strong, very strong military establishment, and there is the very weak political leadership. So they are very easily manipulating the political leadership. And whenever some leader lies in some strong leader lies in and Bhutto, or somehow I can also say that Benazir Bhutto or Nawaz Sharif, they are trying to merge and they are trying to break the shackles and they are trying to like send some kind of shut up call to the military establishment. So they need the fate of Imran Khan in the setup. So if I were to hang, Benazir Bhutto, two governments were removed prematurely. On the same token, Nawaz Sharif, two governments were removed prematurely. And finally, he was jailed and he was like sent abroad, forced to leave the country. The same was somehow happening to the last Pakistan People's Party government. Although we have seen some sort of indexation, but still the political leadership was not free. And then in 2011, there was an effort that Imran Khan was somehow created. He was supported. Big political rallies were supported and favored in his favor. And the public opinion was made in Imran Khan's favor with the hope that he will be the establishment man in the Parliament House or in the Prime Minister House. And Imran Khan was somehow the establishment man in the Parliament House. But later on, it was proved that Imran Khan, or rather not Imran Khan, the military played with Imran Khan, and he was forced out. So we can go into the specifics that how, when, where, what happened. We can go in that specific, but I want to make it brief. So this is why I would say that this is the same story, which is coming from the 1970s or before the till 2022. We have seen Nawaz Sharif, who was for the second time he was exiled.
Okay, let's not go into the specifics. And you're saying it's the same story. There is some difference to it, I think, and you can explain that better, which is that not in from the 1970s until now, the way military installations and military symbols were attacked, that has never happened. So
that's true.
Does that mean a change, or what does it mean?
I missed your question because the voice.
Yeah. So these attacks that have happened on military installations. Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you.
So these attacks which have happened on military installations and military symbols, they indicate that there is some change. How much of a change is this on the ground? Is it really a change? Because this has never happened from 70s until today.
Exactly. That is somehow surprising for many. But I would say that was not surprising for me, at least, and for many other people like me who studied how support base of Imran Khan was created. Imran Khan, no doubt, he is a hero for many people in Pakistan, particularly the youth. And when the support for Imran Khan was created through social media, I think that was a blind kind of support. They believed in Imran Khan. Look, whatever happened to some political leader like Benazir Bhutto and Nawaz Sharif, and after their removal, the establishment started their propaganda campaign against him, and the public opinion was changed.
Yeah.
But it is not changing in case of Imran Khan. It is still very much like the same, although some people in the middle, they are shifting their opinion, but the younger people whose ages are between 20 and 35, these people are blindly supporting their leadership, Imran Khan particularly. So when that happened and when that call came from the top leadership that Imran Khan was imprisoned, and then the youth very angrily they come out. The youth very angrily came out, and it became like a kind of mob. It was not a political rally. It was not a kind of organized protest. It was a kind of mob. And when there is no leader and the youth are just charging, so they attack these installations, the military installation. And I think it was spontaneous. The news went viral on media, and it's surprising, attacking the corps commander house, attacking the military installations in cities like Mardan, entering the GHQ. But I would say that now these people are no more that generation uh, which were having a kind of like like they are for they are listening to their leadership, or they are working for non-violence or something like that. They were just angry young men. And these angry young men were incited by the PTI leadership order to go out and like how to avoid the arrest of their leader, Imran Khan. And Imran Khan had already said that, and the PTI leaders already used to say that Imran Khan is our red line. So when that happened to Imran Khan, and I think you also cannot rule out something from inside the institution, the military. I think that is also true, because when the action was taken inside the military after those incidents, and the third, what they called, like there was a kind of cleanup. Corps commander was sent home. He was removed from his position, and some more actions were taken. So I think you cannot rule out something from inside the military, but the military secrets are not coming out in public to people. So this is why we cannot say something for sure, but you cannot rule out. Like, just if you look at the judiciary, I think you cannot say that the judiciary is totally impartial. There is also partiality, and there is a kind of tilt towards Imran Khan. So that was happening exactly. Some emotions from the youth, emotional youth, and then some support from inside the military, some support from inside the establishment, and together all this, I think it became like a kind of really, really very dangerous situation.
Okay, but again, you're talking about you explained how the youth were angry and Imran Khan was the red line, and we'll come to what they did on the 9th of May. But I wonder, why is Imran Khan, of the youth you are talking about, which is around, you said 25 and 35, well, those have not seen Imran Khan as the rising cricketer he was, and as a politician he has not delivered much. The employment rate under Imran Khan has consistently gone up. The IMF loans have gone up. Pakistan has diplomatically been isolated much, much more because of Imran Khan's soft stand towards, some people say, towards terrorism, and maybe a bit more harsh stand towards the West. So why is he a hero for these people?
Well, he was made a hero for the youth.
Okay.
He was made a hero by no other than the military establishment. All the time they were backing him. And when they were backing Imran Khan, At the same time, they were bashing the other two mainstream political parties, uh, Pakistan People's Party and Pakistan Muslim League. Thirdly, particularly in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan province, although Imran Khan's PTI party does not have that much support in Balochistan province or either in Sindh province. It is only Punjab and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa where it's winning its seats. In Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, while in Sindh, the target of PTI was Pakistan People's Party. In Punjab, it was Pakistan Muslim League, Nawaz Sharif, which was at that time in the bad books of the military establishment. And in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, PMLN and PPP, they were not there, but there was the nationalist Awami National Party. And I think Awami National Party was struck with the support. Earlier, most of the youth who were not the members of the religious party, Jamaat Islami and Jamiyat Ulama Islam, they were members of the Awami National Party. So all they turned to the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf Party because that party was representing the youth, and Imran Khan was always speaking about the youth. And then there was a big support from the military establishment behind him. He was supported through social media. He was supported through like a kind of media. Even the media, the Pakistani electronic media was even they were clear-cut instructions to have some sort of support in favor of not, at least not to go against Imran Khan. If you ask any journalist who was working for the popular TV channels in Islamabad in the 2017 and 18, and there were clear instructions that you are not going to go against Imran Khan. So a cult was created. And now, whatever we are seeing, that is the result of that created cult. The youth is following that cult, and this is why they are targeting the installation.
But what happened very quickly as well, this happened, of course, on the 9th of May, the attacking of the installations and everything. A week later, all these people who had attacked were apologizing. Many of them were put in jail. So do you think the army recovered very quickly?
No. That is the real terrible situation that I would point out too. I mentioned it earlier, and that is the thing that I'm always worried about. For the time being, under pressure, so far the leadership of PTI is concerned, that is not the genuine leadership. Some came from one political party, some came from another political party, and they joined Imran Khan only because they have their own support base, but they were using the name of Imran Khan to get some more votes. They were there with Imran Khan. Otherwise, Imran Khan does not have any loyal political leaders in his party, with the exception of only a few people. I think some of the hardcore PTI who were ideological, they already left Imran Khan when he came in government. The existing leadership, for example, take Shah Mahmood Qureshi or Daud Khattak from Nowshera or Jahangir Tareen from Southern Punjab, or some leaders from Ali Zaidi from, they were not the real PTI. Those are the people who joined Imran Khan when they came to know that the military establishment is
behind
side Pakistan People's Party and Pakistan Muslim League, and they are bringing forward Imran Khan. So they joined, and they will join anyone. Now you will see that in the next election, the same leaders will be joining either Pakistan People's Party or Pakistan Muslim League. So that was the contextual information that I added. Now coming to the youth base is the real base of Imran Khan. So far the leaders are apologizing before cameras, but the youth, I think you will see only a few of the youth who came out on the roads for Imran Khan. They apologized. They are still supporting Imran Khan on social media. Many youth have different social media accounts, not using their real names, and they are hiding their identities. Still, PTI hashtags are they are becoming very easily trends. So I think the support of Imran Khan among the youth, the opportunists who are the leadership, and there were predictions that they will leave Imran Khan as quickly as they joined him. When his popularity vanishes or when his support from the military establishment is vanishing. So they left already, but the other support base is there, and that is the danger. because the military establishment is trying to press and suppress the youth. And if you are suppressing them, and if you are suppressing them to the extent that they are no more able to use their peaceful means of protest in the streets, so where they will go? It's bubbling, and I think they may go to some sort of kind of extreme, for example, to violence. That is the threat that I can see. That is the danger that I can see in the existing military steps against.
But should we then, what you are saying basically is that the army is close to losing grip over Pakistan, which they have held for 75 years? Are they close of losing it?
I think that is too much, like that is too much to say that. I
Okay.
won't say that. But I think the army, the real power of the military, Pakistan military, is their image.
Yeah.
Their real power is not tanks, not aircraft, not missiles. Their real power is their hero image. Hero
Yeah.
image all the time. They are heroes. Whatever happens, floods come, and they are the heroes. Fight with India, they are the heroes. Kashmir, they are the heroes. Terrorism, they are the heroes. No one else is hero in Pakistan. It is the military. So that hero image is somehow dented.
Okay.
These new trends.
So it has lost its sheen a little bit.
Exactly.
Okay.
To say that they are losing the grip, I don't think, because Pakistan army is really very strong, and they have full control on like on everything. I think when you are controlling the media, this is the age of social media, this is the age of technology, and they are controlling all these things. Although it's a hard job for them to do it in 240 million Pakistan, but still they have their grip on things. But if it continued, I fear.
There is, of course, we have talked about two forces until now in Pakistan. One is, of course, the political parties, the PTI, the Muslim League, the People's Party, and the smaller ones. And then the other force, which is the army. Then there's another force in Pakistan, which you alluded to a little bit because of these youngsters maybe not getting a platform to vent their anger, is the extremist. So in Pakistan, and you have covered that extensively, also during the war on terror in the region. So where in this whole conundrum of army, PTI, these political, where do the various extremist groups
You
in
mean
Pakistan
religious?
stand? Hmm?
You mean religious extremists?
I mean terrorist groups, like you have the
Yes.
you have of course TTP,
Yeah.
you have religious extremism, you have the Lashkars, you have the Jaish, you have many of these which are still active there. So where do they fit in this conundrum?
That is very interesting connection, because since the start of political instability in Pakistan, I think that was the time when Nawaz Sharif was prematurely removed. If I fix a time, so I fix that time. But that was the time when Nawaz Sharif was prematurely removed from power.
Mm-hmm.
He, that was the time when the Pakistani Taliban, who were once defeated, or who were once declared to be defeated in Afghanistan as a result of the Operation Zarb-e-Az,
Mm-hmm.
which was launched on 14th of June 2014. The policies and the focus of the intelligence agencies shifted to politics. And the Taliban gradually started, because they were pushed into Afghanistan at that as a result of military operations. And their organization structure was somehow shattered because their leadership, their top leadership, like Ayatollah Massoud and Between and Mullah Fazlullah, the three top leaders, one after another, were targeted in drone strikes. The two were targeted in South Uzbekistan, Hikmatullah and Betullah, and Fazlullah, he was targeted in North Province in advance, right? And then the new leader, Mufti Wali Masud, who is now leading the Pakistani Taliban, he is the leader. And he got the time when the military shifted their focus from politics to the politics in Pakistan, those areas were left behind. And he gradually started his recollecting the shattered strength of the TTP, and they gradually started attacks. And in 2021 and 22, when the military establishment and the intelligence agencies were fully focused on politics in Pakistan, they staged a comeback, initially in South Waziristan tribal district, then spread to North Waziristan, and now when I'm sitting here, they are showing their presence in cities like Peshawar, Mardan, Nowshera, Chafsada. Everywhere they have their organizational city. So, so far the religious extremists and the terrorist groups are concerned. Earlier, before Operation Zarb-e-Asr, they were only in their tribal areas. But the situation is really very serious right now because they have their organizational setup expanded to the cities now. So earlier, the Pakistan military used to conduct a military operation in a remote tribal areas where they were using tanks and artillery and aircrafts. Now, how can you target them in the cities? You cannot target the cities with
So is it
jets
i-
and
is there some merit in so what has happened in the sense that um, many analysts believe, many governments believe, there are books written about it, that the many terrorist groups in Pakistan and in the region, so also in Afghanistan, but also in India, you mentioned Kashmir, many of these groups were created by Pakistan, they were supported by Pakistan. So what is it today when these groups, some of these groups are fighting in the cities? Has the army, we talked about, has the army lost its grip on politics? Has the army lost its grip on these terrorist organizations?
I would quote very, I think, a very strange kind of, that was surprising for me. And that is from my reporting time in 2008, when the security official, when I posed the same question that you are asking me, and that was 2008. And I said, what is happening? Because Mangal Bagh of Lashkar-e-Islam was present in Bara, Khyber tribal, which is only 12 kilometers south of the Peshawar cantonment, right? Then there was the Bajawar Taliban, led by Fakir Muhammad. Then there was the Muhammad Taliban, only 25 kilometers from Peshawar, led by Abdul Wadi, Umar Khalid Khurasani. And then there was the Hakimullah Masood, led Taliban, TTP proper, who used to come to Peshawar and attack the NATO convoys in the night and then went back into their area. And they were targeting the US, the convoys for the US forces through Khyber tribal district. So I posed the same question that what is happening? And the reply was surprising for me because he said that now there are splinters after splinters.
Mm-hmm.
So what we can do? So there are splinters after splinters. There are many groups. Even criminals are now in the ranks of those groups. For example, if they are not finding any refuge anywhere, so they are joining their groups. But over the years, I would say over the past 4 to 5 years, the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, which is the only powerful group in this region, it has got a lot of strength under the leadership of Mufti Wali Masud, the current leader of the Tehreek-e-Taliban. Many splinter groups have rejoined the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. And because in the tribal setup, people are always looking to the power center. Wherever there is the power center, and they are attracted to the power center. So when the power center is in the hands of the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, so the smaller groups are automatically attracted like magnet. So in 2018, 19, and 20, every month we used to hear reports that this or that small group joined the Taliban Pakistan. So that gave the real strength to the TTP. And now the TTP, this is why the TTP the TTP, I would say that that is the only group which can pose a real threat for the Pakistani military. And only yesterday, if you have followed the news on in August 22, there was an attack in South Waziristan and 11 Pakistani army soldiers were killed. In the media, it is reported that 6 soldiers were killed, but the real figure is 11. So 11 Pakistanis. Then every day we are seeing attacks in Balochistan. Some are reported and some are not reported. So these are the groups, and among those groups, it is the TTP which is leading the charge in that area, and that is the real.
So is this the Pakistani military establishment's Frankenstein monster?
I'm sorry, but I missed the last word.
Is this the Frankenstein monster of the military establishment of Pakistan?
You can say, but more than that, is the policies that Pakistan pursued and Pakistan followed in the shape of Afghan Taliban. There were a lot of talks about the Afghan Taliban, and we have seen the intelligence chief soon after the Taliban takeover of Kabul with a cup of tea there in Kabul. And we have seen Khwaja Asad's statement within defense minister at that time. There were statements from Khwaja Asad, there were statements from other top civilian officials who were celebrating the Taliban victory in Kabul in Afghanistan. So there were some expectations and there were some hopes that once the Ghani government, the Karzai government is removed and the Taliban come into power in Afghanistan, so that will be a great kind of achievement for Pakistan and the borders will be secured. But now we have seen that after the Taliban coming into power in Kabul, we are seeing terrible increase in attacks on the Pakistani security forces from across the border by the GTP, who were getting shelter under the Afghan Taliban rule in Afghanistan. So I would say that the policies of the past and the policies of the strategic death are haunting Pakistan and Pakistani military establishment.
And so this whole relationship, which was very cozy between the military and Taliban, up until Afghanistan fell, as you just said, the intelligence chief almost victoriously going to the Serena Hotel and having a cup of tea. So is that relationship not the same anymore? Is it true that the military establishment and the Taliban are not as good as friends as they were?
Apparently, that is very true.
Okay.
Apparently, that is very true what you are saying, and I will give you some examples. For example, never in the recent history of Pakistan-Afghanistan relations, the Pakistani jets bombarded positions inside Afghanistan. Even that happened under Taliban in Khost province. And then there were some rockets attacked from inside Pakistan in those areas. And the Taliban openly, overtly, and covertly, they reacted. Apart from that, when Pakistan said that recently the Pakistani defense minister said that Afghan Taliban should respect Doha agreement. So the tit for tat reply from the Taliban spokesman Zabihullah Mujahid came that the Doha agreement was signed with the United States, not with Pakistan. And all the Taliban ministers, whenever something happens in Pakistan and there is a sort of reaction comes out from Pakistani Foreign Office or the military, like recently when the Army Chief General Asim Munir said that the attacks are coming, the attackers are getting refuge inside Afghanistan and Taliban should act against him. So there were statements, very clear statements.
But what happened? Because you as well know the Taliban could have never been in this position if they were not supported by the Pakistani military. So what exactly happened that it turned the tables? The Taliban could have never sat on the table in Doha if they were not supported by the Pakistanis.
That's a tricky question that many people don't understand. I will explain it
Mhm.
and you know, Afghan Taliban, they are Pashtuns mostly, and they are somehow nationalists, right? Uh, the Taliban leaders, the top leaders, they maybe are majority of them are in favor of Pakistan, but whenever it comes to the TTP jihad, quote unquote, jihad against Pakistan, so for a common foot soldier, I mean for a common Afghan Taliban foot soldier,
Yeah.
that is still a jihad
Okay. Okay.
because they are brainwashed over the years. That is still a jihad for them. For the Afghan leaders, Taliban leader,
They have
this,
achieved it.
for the Afghan Taliban leader, this is pretty understandable that if Afghanistan should be included or Afghanistan should be Afghanistan should be brought recognition from the international community. So they should let the girls go to school.
Yeah.
They should let the women work in offices. But for the foot soldier of the Taliban, this is not understandable. He has only one ideal in his mind, and that is the ideal for which he is brainwashed for the past 20, 25 years. No girls to school, no work for women, they should stay inside their houses. So exactly the same is about the jihad. Jihad is prime for these Taliban soldiers. So it is the same jihad for them, what they were fighting.
Now the
First, for
TTP is fighting.
fighting against the Americans are the US forces and the Ghani and Karzai government, they are saying now the same jihad is the Taliban, TTP is fighting the same jihad for Pakistan, for Islam. So why you are stopping us? So this is why I'm saying that the Afghan leadership, even if Afghan Taliban leadership, even if they want to expel the TTP, they cannot, they would not, because
They will lose their fighters.
exactly because of the backlash from their foot soldiers, and from their mid-ranking commanders.
And would it be correct to say that for the mid-ranking commanders of the Taliban and the jihadi fighters at the ground level, that their jihad, even if the TTP succeeds, for the sake of argument, that even then the jihad doesn't end, because then you have to go to India, then you go further, so the jihad never ends.
You know, it's a militancy. If you look at their ideals, the Taliban ideals, so uh, it's not going to be stopped in Pakistan. It will spread. It will spread because that is their ideology. If they want Islam and the real Islamic system in Pakistan, so like for the sake of argument, as you said, if they succeed, which is 0.00001% chance of that. But if let's for the sake of argument, if they succeed, so it will not stop there. It will move somewhere else. It will move to next door India. It can move to some other country.
Exactly. Coming to that is that, you know, we have seen this earlier happening as well. When the Soviet war was there, a lot of these jihadi groups went to Kashmir to fight, and not because of any political reason. This was basically part of the Islamic caliphate, or pan-Islamism. So, and could that happen again?
You mean in Kashmir?
For example, Kashmir, because I don't see them going to Xinjiang because of the good relations with the Chinese, but Kashmir, India, Bangladesh, all these countries, or all these places which are there, which are of course volatile, and one of the most obvious places would be, of course, indeed, Kashmir, repeating what happened in the 90s.
Yeah, see it like this way. If they cannot go to Xinjiang, because they have very good relations with China. I would not say that they have very good relations with China. I would say that if they go there, or if they do that, there will be very, very serious reaction from China.
Mm-hmm.
The good relation will cease to exist.
Okay.
So I think that is something political. And the same political thing is existing with India. There was a lot of jihadi things, and there were 9 organizations: Hizb al-Mujahideen, Harkat al-Mujahideen, and
Lashkar-e-Toiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed.
how many groups? Jaish-e-Mohammed. But all of them ceased to exist once pressure came after 9/11 and everything was stopped. So that was another thing. That was some sort of, in a way, state-sponsored jihad, and very much controlled, because I'm witness to many things from my Islamabad times in the 1999 and 2001, that we used to receive press releases in our offices, and Hezbollah Mujahideen would say that we killed 50 soldiers, and Harkat al-Mujahideen said that we killed 60 soldiers, and the other one would say that we killed 70 soldiers. So that was happening, and that was some kind of promotional. So that was a kind of state-sponsored jihad, and they were getting funds even from the state or the organization.
These groups still exist.
Taliban, I think this TTP is a different phenomenon.
Okay, but these groups still exist. Like maybe not in the manner as they used to exist in the 90s, due to the war on terror and of course the economic situation in Pakistan. But like you just mentioned in the beginning, TTP, a lot of splinter groups are getting merged into the TTP. If the TTP does not continue this in Pakistan, or cannot continue it in Pakistan, because their ideology is Islamist, will they look for other venues? Do you see that happening?
I think the current TTP is more focused on the tribal areas under Muslim Masood. I would not say that for Hakimullah Masood or Daitullah Masood or Mullah Fazlullah. But for the current leadership of the TTP, it is more focused on the tribal areas. And if we go back to 2018, so the army somehow started a kind of negotiations with the Tehreek-e-Taliban. And one of the conditions and one of the sections of the agreement between the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan and the Pakistan sponsored tribal and the military sponsored tribal Jirga was that the TTP would return to the tribal areas along with their arms. Earlier, the condition used to be unarmed. But at that time, you were permitted to return to the areas along with your arms and weapons, and you will have freedom in those areas. So, in a way, they were handing over the tribal areas to the TTP. And the TTP was happy with that. That, okay, if we are getting our tribal areas, we will be happy. But I would say that even if they agreed on that, the TTP would not stop there. So, to your question, I think the first and foremost priority right now for the TTP and the first and foremost goal for the TTP is Pakistan. Under Mufti Nurwali, they are not picking several fronts right now. They are focusing on one front, and that is the policy inside the TTP. If things come to that end where they are unable to fight like their jihad inside Pakistan or in the tribal areas, I think some individuals or some very, very small groups maybe move to Punjab or some other areas to continue their jihad somewhere else, and maybe the security establishment would also be happy and would want them to do so. But I think as a full group, as an umbrella group of the TTP, moving from one end of Pakistan to another end, I think that doesn't seem like a possibility for me, like exactly the same structure.
Now that you maybe not said it with so many words, but what and correct me if I'm wrong, but what I gather from your answer is that at the end of the day, the solution to this problem will be that there will be some negotiation between the military establishment and the TTP, and there will be some gives and takes.
I think right now when I'm speaking to you, that is not confirmed, it's unconfirmed. But I think some channels are open right now.
Mm-hmm.
Some channels are, although the army chief categorically said that there will be no talks with the people who are involved in the killing of innocent people for things like this. And today, right now when I'm speaking, there is a news conference in Karachi by the caretaker Prime Minister Daud Khattak, and he also said that there will be no talks with the people. But I believe that inside the Afghan Taliban, there are some channels who are always in touch, in contact with the Pakistani military establishment because of their old relationships, and they are always trying to find a midway. Because other than that midway, there is no solution. When the TTPs are taken inside Pakistan, there will be a reaction from the Pakistani military, and the reaction will directly come from the Afghan Taliban. So it will target, it will harm them.
What role is the, for example, you just talked about the channels in Afghan Taliban. What role is, for example, the Haqqani network playing?
That is the channel.
That is the channel. Okay, that is the channel.
The channel, and there are some more. But there are well-wishers on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Because well-wishers are trying to find a kind of midway. That is the negotiation.
And is the Haqqani network powerful within the Taliban, or is it an equal?
Yes, there are many groups. Not equal, I won't say that it's equal, but still it has, because the intelligence is inside Kabul is still in the hands of the Haqqani network. Then there is, because Afghanistan tribal setup is different than Pakistan. There is a tribal setup and very strong tribal setup. So
let's philosophize on this one then. For example, like you said, there are channels open, and the Pakistani state comes to an agreement with the TTP. Then what?
Well, ideally, TTP should stop fighting, and they should live like gentlemen.
No, but will the strategic depth policy end there?
But my question, I'm coming to your question, and I raised that question many times before on many forums. That is the most difficult. That is the most difficult thing to do. For example, without having a policy, how to mainstream those people, how to mainstream them, how to bring them to normal life, how to rehabilitate them, and how to pave way for letting them to mix up in the society as the common people, as ordinary tribesmen. I don't think that negotiations will have any benefits, even if they agree on paper. Why? Because a Taliban fighter, I mean a TTP fighter, who fought with the ideals of jihad in his mind for decades.
Yeah.
And he lost his brothers, his friends, his family members, for example. Now, all of a sudden, someone is showing him a piece of paper that now we agree, and you should forget about your jihad, and you should forget about your ideals of paradise with hoodies. I think that is not possible. Where is his job? What he will do? Do you think a common TTP fighter, after seeing this paper that we have agreed for a negotiated settlement with Pakistan, he will go and start his life as a shopkeeper all of a sudden and selling like candies? No, I don't think he will do that. The first thing and foremost thing is to prepare a rehabilitation plan before entering any kind of negotiation. And that is the real problem in Pakistan policies. like to reach a peace agreement with the TTP. I have seen a dozen of peace agreements since 2006 till now between the TTP and the Pakistani authorities. But I haven't seen any compact rehabilitation plan. There was a peace agreement with Mangalwar in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa district. There was a peace agreement in Bajor. There were 2-3 peace agreements in Swat with Mullah Fadlullah. But the only thing that they were doing, I remember for Mangalwar, some compensation was offered.
There have been some, I wouldn't call it more than hints, but there have been some analysts, and I have no position on it because I don't know, but there have been some analysts saying, because you see a lot of another phenomena in the region, which is the ISKP. Some analysts have hinted that the ISKP might be getting some support from the military establishment in order to counter the Taliban, in order to put pressure on them to make the situation between the TTP and the military establishment better.
Well, I think I heard such kind of conspiracy theories from my friends and from some Pakistani analysts who are critical of the military establishment. But I think before making a kind of comment, when we don't have proof in our hands, we should see some sort of logic behind some policy. That what kind of logic is behind their policy? So the first thing for me is that the Afghan Taliban are not that much naive when someone will be supporting the ISKP and they will be just saying ignorant, they don't know about it. I don't think that they will. And if Pakistan did that and the Afghan Taliban come to know about that, I think Pakistan will be getting a very, very serious problem for itself. Whatever understanding is with the Afghan Taliban, that will go out, I think. Secondly, Pakistan has seen a lot by supporting the Afghan Taliban. Now they are experiencing those things. So I don't think that a sane mind will go through another such experience like the ISKP. Taliban was somehow, I think they were Hanafis and they were like a kind of, I would say the soft side of the religious extremists. But I think ISKP is another extreme, the more extreme side, even more extreme than Al-Qaeda. So maybe I'm wrong, or maybe I have, on the basis of lack of information, I'm not going into that area, but I would say that it is not acceptable for me to say that the Pakistani military establishment is willfully supporting the ISKP just to humble the Afghan Taliban. So I think that is a pretty that even for a little bit of sanity, that sane mind, that's a kind of very, very risky and very, very expensive game.
There have, of course, been a lot of victims in Pakistan of terrorism. And of course, a lot of civilians have died, which had nothing to do with terrorism and these policies. Do you, like, some people would say this is the consequence of using sponsorship of terrorism as a policy tool, and this is what happens. Is there some kind of, within Pakistan, among the people, is there some kind of acknowledgement that among the people, I'm not talking about the military establishment, but among the normal people, is there some kind of acknowledgement that this is something which is going to, is getting back at us, and it's going to eat us up because we pursued this policy for so many years? Is there some kind of anger, acknowledgement, some kind of revolution within people saying that this has to stop because
More,
now we are dying?
more than some,
Okay.
more than some. And you said not military establishment. I would say military establishment.
Okay.
Yes, politicians, sitting ministers, but when they are speaking private. If you remember, when Nawaz Sharif was elected, and if I'm not wrong, for the first time when he, in his first news conference, his exact words were that this should not go like this, and this cannot go like this. And he was referring to these Talibanization.
You're saying they say it in private. What?
No,
Why not in public? No, but why do the normal people don't say it in public?
Not normal. Normal people are saying in public. And
Okay.
Manzoor Pashtun
Yeah.
was one of them. He said in Islamabad, right now, only 2-3 days, only last week, he said the same thing in Islamabad. He's saying it. And
But these people are branded as secessionist and separatist.
They never demanded secessionism from.
No, but
never demanded from Pakistan. Whatever is behind their mind, but they never say. The only thing that Manzoor Pashtun or PTM is demanding, apparently,
yeah, is getting the disappeared people.
They are demanding. They are saying that stop violence in the tribal areas, stop these Taliban, stop the terrorism, stop the policies which are supporting the militancy in Pakistan. So that is the thing. But apart from like hardcore PTM people, a common Pakistani go out in the streets, and everyone is fed up with these.
It is very interesting. Just a few months ago, I was interviewing a very respected intellectual from Pakistan, Mr. Pervez Hoodbhai, and he actually said the same thing. And the following question is, that's why I would like a comment from you on that, is I asked him, I said, so there is this realization even among the army and everything, so will it change? And he said, at the moment, they don't have the money. That's why there is some realization and there is some change. The moment they have the money, they will go back to their old tactics of strategic depth, and this all will happen again. Is that something you find yourself in?
Well, I'm not as much enlightened and educated and informed as our respected Goodbye. I always respect him, and I read his article like with great interest. I like him. But I won't agree with the question of money. I think I think it's the policies. It's the policies of a kind of sense of insecurity. I think no state will kill its citizens in thousands for the sake of money. And imagine when you are doing it as a state, what is at stake for you? You are losing the trust of the people, the very people. You are losing the trust of the very people for which their state exists. So I think a sane mind would never do that. I think it is more like the question of policy, and it is the question of sense of insecurity. A country like Pakistan, which has two disputed borders, for example, Pakistan doesn't call it, but it is. On the one side, there is 8 times powerful India, and there is a disputed border line of control. On the other side, there is the Durand line, and there is an unstable Afghanistan. Even the Iranian border is not safe, and it is not as secure. Then economically, look at Pakistan. Then Pakistan is an atomic power, and there is always conspiracy theories that the rest of the world, I against the rest of the world, or the rest of the world is against me. So it is that kind of sense that forced, I think, the Pakistani policymakers to support such kind of policies and such kind of groups. And I think from the days of jihad under Daud Khattak, a lot much intellectual and I think intellectual and human capital was invested in jihad. And that was a full generation, not a generation, but rather I would say generations who were grown up in the ideals of jihad. So now, those jihadi policies are haunting. And I think it will take Pakistan like years, decades to get rid of those minds, of those like the kind of brainwashed generations.
And in decades, a lot can happen.
Unfortunately.
That's the problem.
Unfortunately, yes. Particularly when you have no clear roadmap. What to do.
Yeah, but that even, even as you know, even established welfare societies like Europe are struggling with that roadmap. So, a country which has been part of this jihad ideology for the last 40, 50 years, developing a roadmap. First of all, there needs to be a change of mind, but then developing a roadmap which is implemented, as you said, in a society where jihad has been glorified, that's going to be a tough task.
I think it's a tough task because I would give you an example, and I mentioned it before. That is from my college days, school and college days. And there was a person in the name of Major Masud, and he used to brandish AK-47 and sitting on the top of a truck with Pakistani political leaders. And he was roaming about in the cities of Peshawar and other cities, and like he was a hero for me. So that generated.
Yeah, Masud who burned a shrine in Kashmir and then returned.
Yeah, and that generation grew up like this. Yeah. So for some, it was Masud who was the hero, but for others, it was Hakimullah and Baitullah and Fazlullah, and then the Afghan Taliban, Mullah Omar and his other leaders were the heroes for this. So that is a sort of generation, and that is very unfortunate. That is this, like this.
So there is going to be, as you foresee it, and that's what this whole interview was about, is what about the current political crisis in Pakistan. But hearing you, I assume that this current political crisis, or the crisis in Pakistan, is going to last quite some time.
That is very important point that I always want to speak about. As I mentioned, the youth situation of the PTI, and I said that it can get worse. So even if, like, for example, after the removal of Nawaz Sharif, there is uncertainty because a large segment of the Pakistani political parties and Pakistan society was not trusting in the elections, which resulted in the victory of Imran Khan, and they were questioning the result, and that caused the political instability, and that continued.
Apart from the political electoral instability, you have talked about the TTP, the splinter groups, and the rehabilitation. The change of policy may be rehabilitation. So let's take out political, but the many crises in Pakistan are going to continue in the foreseeable future. There's no clear cut.
Without a clear roadmap, without a rehabilitation, very clear rehabilitation policy of the militaries, even if you agree on a negotiated settlement on paper, it will stay on paper. I'm going to end. Completing my political situation, I said, after Imran, there was uncertainty. Now, Shehbaz Sharif came. The other side was not good. We have to accept that the Pakistani polity is now, it has lost the middle ground. It is on two extremes now.
Is it true that
now here is a caretaker setup in place? No one is trusting that caretaker. And even if an election is held under this caretaker system, who will accept that election?
Is it
So,
true that some Pakistani analysts have said it, that the powers that be are looking towards Bilawal Bhutto as the next man?
will be a sort of installed, and I think that will be unfortunate
Mhm.
if Zulfikar Ali Bhutto and Benazir Bhutto party is going like this. That
Mhm.
that will be very unfortunate because there
Many of
are a
these
lot of
conspiracy theories keep coming out from Pakistan itself, so that's why it is sometimes mind-boggling of what is happening. But you're right that under this current caretaker government, the legitimacy of an election is, of course, it's difficult to accept for many people that it will be a legitimate election.
exactly. And if the establishment is picking a man like Bilawal Bhutto, who is the son of Benazir Bhutto and the grandson of Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, for example, a political party which is known for its struggle against dictators, and
Mhm.
now he is picked by someone and installed in the prime minister house. That will be tragic. I think. I think that will be the end of uh, uh, some sort of politics where ideals exist. Although idealism is gone out of politics, I don't see it anymore.
Mr. Khattak, it is an extremely interesting, analysis that you have given, and I believe that if we would go on, we could go on another few hours. Um, but again, we have never. I don't think we have ever had someone here on our show in an interview who has, with layers and layers and layers of politics in Pakistan, and try to unravel them, and how it actually is on the ground. And I think the best thing would be that once some new development takes place, which you just alluded to, maybe an election under this caretaker government, or another one, probably next year, that we sit again and talk about it again.
No, most welcome.
But this
Thank you.
was extremely, extremely interesting. And yeah, from our side, I would like to thank you very much for taking the time, and hopefully we can speak soon again.
Pleasure. Thank you, Precious. Thank you. Have a nice day.